or somebody should be doing like a dance or like a theme song or something before we kick in.
Right? Well, we need to get Alan on that. Like, how do we have a musician and not have a theme song? We need a theme song.
Yeah, I guess it's also because like everybody is now doing their own version of broadcast TV, but we don't all have like a production team queuing everything up and like preparing all the video graphics. Like this is just
yeah, and because we like to be punished, so we do everything ourselves. So then we don't make. I wanted to say we don't create extra work, but that wouldn't necessarily be true.
It's very interesting though, because I really do think that it's a reflection of where we grew up. You know, like I notice like how much of like a can do, I'm going to figure it out, don't tell me I can't do it attitude that I have. That's not necessarily something that you see here. Yeah, don't tell me I can't do it. I mean, like, I'm sure if I try this, I could, you know, no, you can't do that. But I go, are you sure? Because maybe if I just did this, then I could.
Yeah. So in other words, we're thrifty. We're innovative.
We're resourceful. We're inventive. We don't take no. I mean, like, you might say no, but maybe there's still a way.
Yeah.
Because actually, probably the only reason that we're still functioning as an organization 11 years later. It's like they said no, but I'm sure if we just
really mean no.
It's only no, like on Wednesdays, you know, in the summer. It's not like no for the rest. I'm sure we can. Yeah. Anyway, that's what growing up outside North America will give you.
Yeah.
The real solid life skills.
Well, welcome to our viewers to Taura Tuesday, yet another Tuesday where we just get to touch base and speak the things on our mind, I guess. So
that's the thing you got to start with. That's the welcome speech.
Well, you were already talking by the time we started, so I didn't want to cut you off there. So,
well, that was lovely. I think we should do that at the beginning every time. By we, I mean you.
2 minutes in, so better late than never. How's your week been? How's the world this week? What's the weather like? I don't really mean weather, but
yeah, weather matters. You know, like I do love the rain, but some days I wake up and it's gray and I'm like, oh God, please get the sun to out. I really need the sun today. So I had a couple of days like that this week. Like honestly, like we're like my household are the middle class who are weathering COVID really, really well, for which I'm grateful. But I notice like how disconnected I feel from so many other community members, like even like just all the community groups that I used to be part of in pre-COVID days. Like like all of us stuck at home, and I noticed that even though everything is really well, we're well, we're safe, don't have our vaccines yet, but yeah, it's
there's things missing. Yeah, definitely, and I want to pick up on that after we do maybe some updates what's happened in the past week. So we did rant, I think, a little bit in the past 2 weeks about the police cruiser thing. So only fair that we do make mention that they actually canceled the project, which is wow. Yeah.
Is it wow? It's like, I don't know, like, yeah, I just kind of found myself stunned.
Yeah.
You know, even like on last week's episode, we talked about listening, like la lela, and like how much an important part of the conversation it is. And I was like, wow, it wouldn't have been hard to have a conversation. I was like, maybe we can help you guys, like figure out how to talk to people in the community. It's like a gap. And I'm like, we know how to do that part. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway.
Yeah, I guess, you know, it was canceled, so it's a step. We see what happens next. You know,
we wait like this. Oh my God, what? Oh my God, what?
We wait anxiously. So, you know, I thought it was only fair that we put that out there because, you know, equal opportunity to spread the news, right? And unfortunately, the other news that was that yesterday? Yeah, that just kind of, it's really sad because, we have this voice and you have this platform. I don't think when we sat down and thought about doing this, we wanted to, be the bearers of bad news or be ranting all the time. But sometimes you can't just be silent, especially now. You just can't pretend it's not there. So, when you read a headline that says a cop shot a black man thinking that their gun is a taser, so much comes to mind and nothing at the same time, because you're thinking, wow, really? Like, yeah, really?
Yeah. I mean, you can't make an excuse. You're like, what the, who, like how, like what sort of training, like what, like what?
Yeah. I guess the maybe the silver lining is that, it tells the rest of the community that the fight about Black Lives Mattering is not a last year's fight. It's an ongoing struggle. It didn't end because there were a couple of, because there was a big shout out in the media didn't mean that things are now on a level playing field. So you just kind of hope the people are listening, that people are paying attention outside of us or outside of me as a Black person, because I always paid attention to it even before it was popular. But now it's like, oh, yeah, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, like honestly, like I don't think that people are paying attention. Like I think everyone is COVID exhausted, you know, and you're just focusing on the things that are in front of you, and there are crazy things that happen all over the world. Usually they're like, oh my God, whatever the thing that happened in typically Africa that's so awful that they want to talk about, right? But now it's just like over the border. Not just, but a little bit more than just.
But don't you think, like, like before COVID, yes, people reacted, but it was definitely very much of that microwave generation where you get like your 10 seconds of fame thing, 10-second fame window, and then you're nobody again. Whereas now, I think we all kind of have to stew in it and just kind of sit in it, right? Because of the backdrop of we have that happened yesterday, and down the street, the trial of Derek Chauvin is happening as well. And one of the things for me on that is that, like, I don't watch the trial because every time they're playing the trial, they play that video. I don't want to see that video. That's just why. Why do we have to keep replaying it? Why do we have to I watched it once. I can't forget it. Thank you. That's enough.
Alice, I honestly don't think that the white community is paying attention as it did. Like, I mean, I can't imagine what it must feel like for you as a Black person. And like, obviously you're my friend and I care about you. So I have like some awareness of the stuff, but like we as white folks, like we can like ignore it and get on with it's like, oh, it's that again. Oh, that happened again. Right. Like we don't, it doesn't, I mean, like how does it feel for you to see, if you want to share, like if you don't want to, obviously, because this is live TV.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, it's interesting to me to hear you say that. Not that I don't know that, but I know that, which I guess the thing I would really want to say is that I don't get to take a break from it. Like it would be nice to get that opportunity to pretend that it's a problem happening elsewhere in another universe or whatever. But this is the skin that I walk in. There's no break. Outside, it's January to December. It's not just in February that we experience it. It's every day in everything, right? So, which is the thing that I would want to highlight the most. How does it make me feel? At this point, it's just, I try not to stew in anger. That is not helpful. But exacerbated. Just, at what point does this message actually look? What does it take for people to actually hear what we're saying? And it's, I think we talked about this last week too, that a lot of the times when we are talking about the Black struggle or the Black experience, it sort of feels like everybody's saying all lives matter. Because I'm saying I'm suffering and this is what I'm suffering with, it's not taking away from the fact that you, Jackie, suffer too. No, I know that I'm aware that you suffer, but my struggles may just look a little bit different. And I think, if today we're talking about my struggle, let's talk about my struggle. Let's understand what my struggle is without having that rebuttal, without having, oh, well, I have struggles too, or that sort of justification. And I think that's the most hurtful part, is the justification for it. That there are people that are always going to be racist or be, what's the word I'm looking for? Have their microaggressions that they may not be aware of. Those people will always exist. Mm-hmm. But, having to then why are we justifying their actions? Why do we even have to have a conversation on whether there was a right thing or a wrong thing? It should just be simple that it's a wrong, mm-hmm. There's no question about it. How does one mistake a taser for a gun? And if the person can make that mistake, should they be wielding a weapon? Right?
Well, no.
So yeah, it's all these humanity questions that follow up. That as the human race, how are we not even having that real conversation? Mm-hmm. And we're stuck on really what shouldn't even be a debate at all. Right. So,
well, and it's like it's like, how did she pick the taser or the gun instead of the taser? Like, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Like, it feels like, you need to back up like several steps in the conversation. Right. Like, why did she think it was okay, to just treat somebody who's a Black man? Of course, because this is how the story goes, right? It's like, yeah.
Well, and and for those who do watch us, if you want to challenge anything that I've said, if you want to challenge anything that Jackie said, if you're white and you feel like no people are paying attention, absolutely, it is your right to challenge it. I think we just speak from our perspective, and I think the most important thing, Black, white, regardless of what color it is, I think, is to listen to each other. We don't have to agree, but to actually hear each other. We talked about this last week. I feel like we go, it always comes back to the same.
Yeah. It's funny actually, because, like, people will talk about like, systemic racism and like the organizations created within that structure of systemic racism. And we've all interacted with them. And, even myself as a white person, like, I'm like, wow, that was different. Like, interactions with an organization like that. The police is one of them.
Yeah.
And you're like, people will do like their like diversity and inclusion training. They'll do their anti-racism training, and they're like checking all the boxes to make sure that they're like, I don't know what the pass is. I guess it's like, I'm anti-racist because I've done all the training. I guess that's what the pass thing is. Yeah. But there's no like connection with community. There's no interaction with, like on a really like authentic, genuine conversational level.
Yeah.
And, I get like, it's hard for an organization to have a conversation with an individual, but it's so incredibly important. For instance, and I'm so sorry, like Waterloo Region Police Services, but you just really set yourselves up for that. Right? Like, there was an opportunity to have a conversation there, but it was like someone on the inside made a decision about what would be a good idea and just ran with it. Right. Yeah. And, maybe there were like one or two conversations with individuals, but like an actual sort of genuine, I really want to know how this lands with you. Like, tell me about your experience. Can we find a way, and really listening to the experience on the other side, and then, evolving a decision. Like, that piece didn't happen.
No.
And it's like, if you are if you are working in an organization and you are trying to shift the culture, you are trying to do like the right thing, and that's the right thing this, I don't know, this quarter, this season. It's so much more than about doing all the right training. Like that's not it. That's not the thing. Like you can do all the training and you can work out as racist at the beginning as you were, at the end as you were at the beginning.
Well, and that's one of the things I think, like in thinking of the education system we grew up in, that we went through, well, anywhere really, sometimes you learn how to pass the exam and not necessarily learn what they're teaching you, which is, I think, sometimes what happens, with some of these anti-racism trainings, where people learn to get through it without actually having received any tangible knowledge from it, which is really sad. But that actually brings me to what I really wanted to talk about today before the news happened, which is just this idea of creating a tribe, right? Like, because if you're really in community and you have a tribe, then these decisions are not made like in isolation. You understand community because like in the African context, in the African culture, someone else's mother can discipline me. Like, if I'm walking down the street and an elder sees me doing something wrong, then I'm fair game, right? So it's like, as human beings, as we are cultured in society, if we never have these this tribe that holds us accountable, how do we actually learn beyond just doing the steps again, right? Like, I just did the anti-racism thing and I learned and I passed the thing, but what did you break bread with anyone? Did you actually understand that there's an Alice who comes from Africa, and this is, what is the substance, what is the core of who this person is? And you can get that in living in a tribe or living in community with people. So I don't know what you think, Jackie, on on finding your tribe.
Yeah, well, honestly, like as you're talking, Alice, I'm thinking about like how like you and Alan are my tribe, right? We started Bring on the Sunshine together 11 years ago, and it's grown to something we could never have imagined. And like we're on a very like shallow level, we're friends, but on a deeper level, like, he is my brother, you are my sister. I know that whatever comes, you will support me and I will support you. And even like when we're not talking to each other, which happens sometimes.
What? That never happens.
It doesn't shake the commitment that is there. And so it's like that tribe that is family. Yeah. And so there's the tribe, the family, the tribe that you choose for yourself, which can be different from the tribe that you're born into. But I think like one of the things we always, we talk about amongst ourselves, but also it's something that we really want to see Bring on the Sunshine bring to the community, is that sense that we are all family. Like, let's make family. And it doesn't happen. You have to make it. You have to choose it. And you have to choose people who are different from yourself, think differently, look differently, eat differently, whatever. Yeah. But there's such a richness in that. And I know, like for myself anyway, that's one of the things that I really hope like Waterloo Region and whoever interacts with us kind of gets that vibe. And we've heard that like from some of our volunteers and stuff. They're like, wow, this is not like volunteering anywhere else. But like, I hope that means a good thing.
Well, it's this idea that if the Waterloo region can become a tribe, like we don't all have to be best friends and looking out for each other, but we kind of are in communion with one another in different aspects of it, then it doesn't matter so much that I'm African, that you're Caribbean, that you're this, because at the end of the day, we formed a new tribe. We formed a new set of beings. So then what hurts me as a Black person now hurts you as a white person, because as Jackie, you're like, oh, no, but Alice feels this. Like, how can I not feel it when someone in my tribe? feels it too, right? So it's this idea of understanding community as, this is part of what shapes my existence. We have a photobomber today.
That's awesome.
We have some distractions in the background here. So
actually, what you're saying, Alice, makes me think of like something that I've heard you say, like in other contexts as well. So I mean, you've actually said it today about how important it is that we break bread together. But it's also the reason that you don't like this word inclusion. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
I don't like that word inclusion because when we talk about inclusion, for me it sounds like you want to include me in your culture, which is not what I'm asking for. I'm not asking to be included in your thing. I'm asking us to create a table that I'm here and you're here, and we create a new thing. You can bring your culture, I can bring mine, but I'm not being adopted into your culture because I'm not trying to be, my culture will never be the Western white culture. It's not entirely Zimbabwean anymore because I don't live there, but it's a blend. So let's create a space and a table that we can all sit there as equals, but in mutual respect of each other. So when people say inclusion, it always makes me feel like it's inclusion into the white culture, which that's not what I want. Yeah, really not what I want. So
I remember when I was young, way back, growing up in Zimbabwe, and the jobs or the future that you would aspire to for yourself was, one, working in an aid organization, or two, going to the West and making something of yourself. And I remember, like, as a teenager, looking at very clearly Indigenous people who were now Canadian or North American, and who were typically, they would just wear black. So rather than like traditional attire, speak with the North American accent. And I remember looking at them and just like being wowed that this was a thing that happened over in Canada, right? Or wherever, right? And then I came here and seeing people in context, like just stripped of so much of that culture and story and background. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what a loss. But it's not something you see from Africa, like from, sitting in Africa and seeing, like North Americans, we're all trying to make our way in the world. We are doing our best for sure. But it just really struck me that like, oh my, there's something missing. Like when we leave all of that behind, there's something missing. And like for you have kids, right? And for your kids not to have access to that, to be included, to be in the inclusion circle, but now they've left behind something that's actually incredibly important.
And you've said something that I've often. I think I've jumped back at people a lot of the times because, when people talk about us moving here to North America, oh, you're so fortunate. But yes, I am in other ways. Let's say economically, yes, it was a smart decision. But I'm not oblivious to how much I had to give up to be here. There is a cost to me being here. There's so much more that I left behind that my heart yearns for, that I can never get here, right? So there's no, this is not the perfect place, but neither is Zimbabwe the perfect place, but
like we all came here because we thought it was perfect, and I was really shocked. Honestly, I was shocked. I'm like, what do you mean? Street, like, is north and south and east and west and goes through 3 cities and isn't even a straight line? Like, what do you mean? Canada's supposed to be perfect.
I got here, discovered I was Black, I was Zimbabwean, and even more, I was a Shona person. It's, I got dissected so much that, I've had to learn to put myself together again and say, okay, no, you can't, I'm not just this one thing. I'm not just this one thing. I'm everything. I'm a full being. So
the boxes.
Yeah.
Like some people would say that that's sort of white supremacy, likes to put people in boxes, right? And likes to dissect them into little pieces. And, I've lived in Canada for I kind of blur the number of years in my mind because I don't really want to think about it. But I had people tell me, "Oh, well, you can't be African."
Oh, yes.
It's like, well, how do you get to tell me this? Like, what? What? It's like, oh, no, you don't, because it's like you don't fit that box.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, for myself, that's one of the reasons that I think I love Bring On the Sunshine is because I can be who I am. I don't have to like fit your box of who you think I'm meant to be.
Well, and the other thing, I guess, the other microaggression that I faced a lot when I first moved to North America is, oh, but you're not like those other people.
Woof.
Is that a compliment or an insult? I'm not like those other Africans. What does that mean?
Oh, yeah. There's so much to unpack there.
Because my English sounds differently, or my accent is a little bit different, that means I'm not trying to be better than other people. I'm just trying to be me. So, and it's this thing again where we're measuring people and trying to, okay, well, these ones are a little bit higher and yeah. It's an exhausting game to be putting people in boxes all the time, but
because actually nobody fits in boxes. Not one of us fits in those stupid boxes.
No.
Yeah,
So I guess our challenge for this week to everybody who's going to watch this video or who's watching us now live is, let's not ask for inclusive spaces. Let's create the space that, so we can I want to sit with a person from wherever you are, whether you're from Korea, China, Caribbean, or whatever, and get to know your culture out of respect. Like in my language, we always say a king's son is a servant somewhere else. So when I'm at your house, I will respect your culture. When you're in my house, I will respect my culture. You will respect my culture. And when we create this community, this is our space now. We get to, move through this space and respect each other. So
create it together.
So yeah, let's question that idea of what it is actually we are looking on. And I don't know, the whole taser situation, I can't, but yeah, I'm not as much of the angry black man like Alan is. It's unfortunate he's not here today. I'm sure he has a lot on his heart that he would have shared, but it's not, I don't think there's any black, for anyone who's watching and doesn't have a lot of black friends, honestly, as a black person, I feel it as if that guy was my family, because it could be my son. It could be my brother. I actually have brothers who live in the US, and so you feel it deeply. So it's not like this made up thing where it's some random person in some random faraway land. It feels like an attack on all of us. So, and that is just how real it is. And I hope that message starts to sink into the greater community, white, brown, or all the other colors in between too.
So like for somebody like me who's a white person who is not gonna feel it as deeply as you do, like what is it that I could do, like to support you, my sister, to support the black community in Waterloo region, to support the black community anywhere? Like what I mean, and you might be like, figure it out, Jackie. Okay, and I'll run with that. But just in case you had an idea.
So I don't know if Colleen James is still on there. Feel free to type an answer to Jackie, because I don't want to represent all the black people in Kitchener Waterloo. But I think it's really, really important to listen. One of the things that always struck me when I came to North America, not when I first came, for a long time when I came to North America, was that like I lived in Zimbabwe, and we were colonized by the British. They were in power. There was independence, and then we had our first black president. But it was definitely acknowledged that the white people came and this is what they did.
Yep.
And I feel like for a long time here, black people have had to guess at their experience. It's like something happens. Your first thought is, am I making this up? Is is this really, really happening? Or even though I know I'm not making it up, even though I know this is not the right way to do something, because a lot of the times we have not been validated, our experience has not been validated. We are now going, what? So I think as a person, as a friend, I don't want to use the word ally because some people have issues with that.
I know, that's a whole other episode. Another episode, that one.
Yeah, no, as a friend or as a person who's trying to be in community with us or part of my tribe, your first job is to listen, to actually hear where I am, because no one solution is going to work for every Black person, because I might be angry, I might be just hurt and crying, and I just need you to listen. But you actually just need to take the time to listen and validate and say, you know what, you're not making it up. It really is. And of course, there is the other things that we can do on the political arena and, you know, advocate and walk alongside those who are advocating, because as a person who's been on the forefront trying to push some issues through, it helps to have white people come alongside me and support what I'm saying, because I don't become just the angry Black woman or the angry Black person or whatever. So I think it's important for the Black people to be leading the cause, but it's important that the white people are part of that and listening and, you know, jumping in when asked to, and just validating when I feel like I'm losing it. How is this happening every single day? You know, and just say, no, you're not wrong. The world is wrong. Humanity has a crisis that they need to fix. You know, I think we all need that at times, even though we know it's true. It's helpful. I don't know. It was a long-winded way of answering that question, but
yeah, well, I know, like, we've, you know, just like in our working community together, like, you know, we have met the same person and, you know, had very different experiences with the same person.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been a learning for me to say, you know, to go, okay, and like, it's not that Alice is wrong. It's not that she's, you know, PMSing or something. No, that, you know, it's like to actually listen and reflect that she can, unfortunately, have a very different experience with people that I regard very highly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just not going to go the same way. And yeah, so, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go with Alice's lead. Not saying that I'm amazing, but saying that I'm learning.
but and that's the thing, we are all learning too, right? So it's you know, and I think you bring up a really good point, because it's in that when I can say, oh no, you know, my experience with this person was not so positive, there was something there that didn't fit with me, and not being rebutted on it and just going, yay, oh, okay, I'm sorry you felt that way, or whatever the response is, then, you know, it builds up your confidence in dealing with people and calling them out on their microaggressions, on their maybe unconscious biases, or and all these other things. And I think
otherwise known as BS.
We won't go there. Sometimes people, I mean, we've all been conditioned, and sometimes conditioned in a way that, you know, we don't realize the harm that we cause to our friends, our neighbors, and all this other thing. But, you know, we could do this like for all night. We definitely could, but, you know, in the interest of keeping people engaged with us, we will wrap up. And thank you for watching with us or listening to our thoughts on the events of the past week and creating your tribe. So we challenge you to create your tribe. Bring on the sunshine part of your tribe. We're happy to join any tribe. So we're a tribe of misfits. No one wanted to claim us, so we created our own.
We did. Oh, we totally did. Yeah. Yeah. And as we figure out this COVID stuff, this COVID life, like, you're going to have to be more intentional than ever to reach out to people who you feel like are different from you, because we're all, damn those boxes. Damn those boxes. My house is a box. Anyway, this has been so much fun. Even though we miss you, Alan. Hey, Alan. We still had a good time.
Shame on you, Alan. Shame on you. But for those watching, again, feel free to send us a message and call us out on anything that we said that you didn't like. We absolutely love the challenge, and we look forward to catching up again next week. Taura Tuesday. Have a good night.
Lalela, remember.